Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about triptychs, but triptychs where we remove some of the background and then decoupage back over, so we're bridging the gaps that we've created so the picture remains whole apart from the background. These work really well if you've got a lot going on in the background, but alternatively if you don't like fussy cutting you can do that without as well. So it's up to you on the picture that you decide on, whether it's a stamped image. You can stamp two. This is quite a simple one where I just cut out the roses and decoupage them back over, and it's very subtle. It's still got the effect because you've lost some of the background and that would have the ribbon cut out, etc., and you're just replacing it back over. This one I've added the border back in as decoupage, even though it wasn't cut out in the background. I just thought it would be a nice touch, and the butterfly up there as well. So, and that's only one layer of decoupage as well. That little one there I did a second layer. So this is what we're doing. And then if you've got several pictures or you've done a stamped image, as long as it's identical, like you've got a stamping platform and you're colouring it in, you can replace it back over. Now if you don't like fussy cutting, like I said, choose large images. So I've only cut around, I haven't cut this mirror, that's flat. I've only cut around the easy part of the train engine, none of this, so you can do that as well. And I did horizontal lines because I thought it worked better than going vertical on this, because you're only losing a bit of background and that way you lose a little bit of the train. This one is a really simple one as well, again because you're not losing much background, and I replaced this little piece this time because I thought it was going to look weird with one of his antennas missing, so I wanted to put that back in. So and here can you see I didn't go back over the tyre there, I'd cut around the arch. So it doesn't matter how you do this, it's entirely up to you. This is a really simple one because I've literally just cut the rectangle out of the picture, so you can make it a lot easier. You can triptych it horizontal that time and then pop that back on. And again you can use dies, so you can see how much difference that makes to that topper. I mean, there's your original topper and there it is, all decoupage, triptyched, etc. So you can really make a nice little statement piece. Now just as an experiment for you and to see the difference, this is with dies, and I'm going to do these two again, but I'm not going to use dies. I'm going to use them as vertical, so landscape and portrait, for those with just cutting. So you don't have to have dies, but you can use any shape dies that fit over your pictures, etc. So I think we should get started. Now I might just explain the basic principle behind this. So now it's up to you. You don't have to have these exactly, you know, triptych. So there are, I've done most of mine. There is one where I haven't, and I'll explain that when I do the demos. But if you want it to be completely exact, then you're going to have to divide it by 3. Now what I've done here is I've done easy maths. So what I've done is I've cut these pieces down to 6 1/4 by 3 1/4 inches. Okay, now to make the mat, the bit that goes underneath, I'm adding on 1/4 inch. So they're 6 1/2 by 3 1/2. So you add on whatever your topper size is, add on 1/4 inch to each way, and then make your mat. Then for the portrait and the landscape versions of these, what you need to do is take 1/4 inch off in your head, not physically. So this one is measuring 6 1/4. You can see there it's 6 1/4. So take off 1/4, and if you want these to be exact, what you're going to do is take 2 inches off each end. Okay, so you're going to take 2 inches off of that side, because that with 1/4 inch missing, 6 divided by 2 is 3, so you're going to make 3 triptychs. So we've got 2 ends. Now if this had a picture on, obviously that would matter. Now the really important bit is the picture bit in the middle. You don't just take off 1/4 inch off one side, you want it to be missing. It's the middle that you change on all of these. So what you do is you only take 1/8. So what you're left with is 2 1/4. So we just take it down, take 1/8 off that side, flip it around and take 1/8 off that side, and you're going to do exactly the same. And that, if that was a picture, which we're going to see in a minute when I make these, and we'll be using the proper measurements of the original pictures. So that would be part of the picture missing there. And then you can see when we lay it back onto our mat that was only 1/4 inch bigger, we're going to have, I'm not going to glue it in place, but you can see it's going to be, when you push it all together and get it all out. Everything will be completely even all through the centre of that. So that's how you do it. Now portrait wise, obviously it's going to be exactly the same thing. This was 4 1/4, so our topper was 4 1/4, so we made 4 1/2, sorry, 3 1/4. So we made 3 1/2 for our mat. We went up 1/4, and then with this one we have 3 1/4 because it's the original size, but in our heads we're going to take 1/4 off, so it's down to 3, and then you divide that by 3, which is 1. So you would take 1 off of this end, 1 off of the other end, like this. I might do it that way because I think it'd be easier. So you spin it around if you're going to do it that way, and then you just take off the centre section you've got left. You can see it's 1/4 inch bigger, so you just take 1/8 off of each side of that to make it exactly the same, which is going to be quite tricky with this little strip here. You need to line up to get 1/8, and then we go around the other side and take the 8th off. I'm not going to do it because it's going to be fiddly. I actually used guillotine, but it doesn't fit on here. I've got the big caterpillar. With these paper trimmers, you get the ruler over the top, and you can see there's no room. So that's how you do it. So it's really, really simple thing to do, but we're going to do it properly. So, so by that, what I mean is we're going to take a topper, an original topper. So what I said was I'm going to do these ones again. So I need to get the bits of paper for these that I showed you just now. Just bear with, got to grab them back. So in my little bundle, we're going to do that one and that one. So I'm going to leave these out so we can see how different they look when they're not on dies and they've been done straight. Now this one is 5 7/8. Now this is the Hunkydory Little book, and they are 5 7/8 by 4 1/8, but not quite, but I call it 4 1/8. Now if you want it to be exact, you could take a little smidge off and make that 4 1/8 like that. So you've got a little smidge off there, so that now will fit in there. So what you have to do now is add on 1/4 inch. So it was 5 7/8, so add on 1/4 inch, makes it 6 1/8, and then this way is 4 3/8 when you add on that extra. Now what we need to do with this one, because it's this way round, we're going to, in our heads, take off 1/4 inch, so it's 5 7/8, and then we're going to take that down to 5 5/8, and then you divide it by 3, and it comes up as 1 7/8 each end. Now that's to get an exact triptych. Now if I pull this along to 1 7/8, so by exact triptych I mean each section is identical. Now this one is a little bit different in the fact that if I go 1 7/8, I'm not really losing much of my teddy, because remember I'm going to take 1/8 inch off each side of the middle section, so the teddy's going to remain whole, and I'm only going to lose like the foot area of this bunny. So you can, because I said it doesn't have to be exact, you just have to remember that you've got to do it 1/8 inch off the middle. So we're going to come back to, let's say 1 1/2, and then I'm removing more of that teddy, and it will have a better effect. So you don't have to be exact, you just take 1 1/2 off each side, and these could all be different, you know, all 3 sections, as long as you're taking off the middle. So 1 1/2, we're going to do it exact, so 1 1/2 off of here, because it works out quite good, because you can see we're removing sections of these two. And then with this one, well, I'll leave it where it is, we're just going to take 1/8 off. Okay, to get underneath, so we're going to come down 1/8 inch there, whoops, and remove 1/8 inch off of there, and 1/8 inch off of this side. So you need to spin it around or move it over. So 1/8 inch is there, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And then we've got our strips off both sides. And then you can see I'm going to stick this back down now. We're going to pop that on there, and we've got bits missing of our teddies. Okay, so let me just do that quickly. I'll just pause it so you don't have to watch me glue it on. I have come back. I've only glued one half on. The reason that I came back was just to show you that the best way to do the layering down, because I thought it might be important, is to look at the 3 edges and make sure that your pattern is in even, and do both ends first. Okay, now if you've got a whole picture going across, then you might want to use the topper to make sure that you've got, you know, the second topper to make sure it's the right length, or even measure it. Because if it's like, you know, when we replaced the whole of that pirate ship one, it's really important that you don't go too wide, too close. But with this one, because they're like individual, not attached to this so much, it wouldn't matter that much. But you'll see when I put this one on, you put the middle one on last. And you can always measure the edges as well to make sure you've got 1/4 of an inch if you're worried about it. But I do it all by eye, really. And I have wonky eyes, so I do quite well. So you can just see, now we've got nice even borders all around. Now the other thing, these are all the decoupage bits I've cut out. If you get a carrier sheet, excuse me, I'm going to have to cough. If you get a carrier sheet that's, you know, got the shiny bits, so like what foam tape comes on, or if you've got a cutting machine and Cricut or anything like that, double-sided sheets, you can put all your foam pads on, so you can do all your decoupage sitting down, and then so you don't lose the bits, you can pop all your decoupage on there and have it ready to just pull off. So you can see I've done all mine already. So what I'm going to do now is take off the teddy and just, normally you would put your head right over, but I don't think anyone really wants to see my head. And you just pop it into place. Hopefully it's pretty straight. So you can see there, we're bridging back over the triptych onto the picture to make it complete. Now this one, it won't matter. So this one is not got anything, and you can see I left a bit of pink in there. So you could do things like that. If you don't want a fussy cut, you can just pop it straight back over like that. So that one didn't really change, but you still want the decoupage to give it that nice effect. And then the end one, old lazy one, lazy bones over here, he's, oops, bit of the, I don't know where that bit's come from actually. Pop that on there. So you can see, hopefully they're fairly straight, we've got our bridging the triptych to give the picture back, so you haven't got missing pieces. And I think it's a really nice effective way. Now compared to the way we die cut it, that's the difference. So you can see the die cuts do give a really different type of feel to the cards, but if you haven't got die cuts, this looks just as beautiful. You put it onto a card base, you add your ribbons, your sentiments and things like that, a few gems or glitter, it's going to look amazing. And you can bridge back some of these if you want to, but you need to know that it's a triptych and you've purposely taken out the background. So that's that one. And then what we'll do is we'll do this one. So this one was a die, but we're going to do it straight. Hopefully this trimmer will allow me to do it because it's another narrow one. So what you do with this one, because it was 4 1/8, that's a really difficult sum to work out. So I've cut this one down to 4. And then when you divide it, take off 1/4 and divide it by 3, it's 3 1/4. So it makes it an awful lot easy with maths if you want it to be completely triptyched. Yeah, equal amounts. So it's 1 1/4 off of each side with this, because we added on 1/4 each end, remember? Made it 1/4 bigger that way and that way. That was 4, so this is 4 1/4. Hopefully I'll cut that 4 1/4 and not 4 3/8. Yeah. And then we're going to take off 1 1/4 like that off the side. I'm going to flip it around. Oops. And take off 1 1/4 that side. And then only off the middle, we need to equal it and take off 1/8 of an inch each side. It's going to probably be really tricky on this trimmer. So that's about 1/8. This may not come out very well, guys. As you can see, I haven't got anywhere to support it, but we'll get the gist. It might be a little bit too big, small, but you would do it in exact. So you can use craft knives and rulers, which I probably should have done for this. So this is going to end up being 1 1/4 because it actually came out 1 1/2. So it's easier when I do the other side. Take off 1 1/4 so I can line it up against that. Come over and take that bit off. Hopefully they were evenish strips like that. And I'm going to show you how to do a die one next, so don't worry, we are going to do it. So this one goes in the middle, this one goes on the side, and this one goes on the side, and they need to be glued in place. Again, get your borders completely even around, and then you would take your pieces. So I'm going to glue these in, so just bear with me. Right, so I've glued those into place. It's always a good idea to use wet glue as well, so you've got a bit of wiggle time, because this is a big one bridging over all of those 3 sections. If it was in the wrong place, here it goes, dog's off. I'm going to have to pick this up and do it. You've got a bit of slidability. So you can see we've bridged that back over, and that balloon, I just felt like I needed to cut that out and pop that on. You don't need to do the little strings and things like that. Make it simple because you've got that background picture. So there we go, that's back over like that. So compared to our die cut one, there you go, you can see again it's still really, really nice, but just a really different feel with the die cut. And obviously every shape you use is going to be different, and you can use, it depends, if you're using square ones, a hexagon might look really nice. So, you know, experiment guys and have fun with it. So now I'm going to show you all about the die cuts. So we're going to take this image here like this. So we're going to take this image. I've lost my little butterfly that's been there the whole time, and then it flew away. Rude. So I won't be able to put that one back on. Don't know where that's gone. So I've die cut this image out of this topper. So this was the topper, and then what you do with die cut ones is you obviously use your nesting dies. So you always have one that's slightly smaller than the other one. So this, and you make sure that it's going to fit over your image that you can die cut out. So you 100% need to be able to cut that. So make sure that you do that. Right, I'd have a little interlude there to stop my dog. I don't know where I was. So with the whole image, you need to make sure that your smaller die fits over the image before you cut it out. So that's what I've done here. So we've got these 2 cut out already, and you can see they fit over there. Now with dies, we're not going to do the 1/4 of an inch thing, because nesting dies, they all have like different levels between them depending on what you're using. So what I like to do is just pop it into place roughly where it would be sitting, and then measure the borders. So like, what is the gap around the edge? Could it be that it's 1/4 of an inch? You can see up here it's actually quite large. You know, it's like more than 1/4 of an inch, and this side it's a little bit less than 1/4 of an inch. So really we'd probably want to take 3/8 off, because we're not measuring the sides anymore. We probably want to do a strip wherever it suits this, and then take 3/8 of an inch off. So what I would do is just line up where you think it's going to go. So we're not going to go with the 3 rule anymore. We're going to go with what suits the die. So if I get my point onto there, so I've got my 2 points, I can use this, I can come down, because I'm using my points as a guide on this to see whereabouts I want to lose that. And I think I might come over 1/4 of an inch. I want to make sure I'm going, oh, I don't know actually, because I want to make sure I'm going through the little birthday treat there. So we're coming 3/4 of an inch from the centre point out, and we'll go right up through the centre of that, and we'll need to do the same again. So we need to line up our point in a minute, and then on the 3/4 of an inch from the cutting line. So we're going to take that side off, spin it around, oh my goodness, and pop this back 3/4 of an inch from the cutting line, and then we'll get a nice straight edge like that. So we've done exactly the same thing. Now it's not going to be level, we know this, but what we're going to do now is we're going to have to remove 1/4 inch from each side of this, because we need it to be at least 1/4 inch, if not more. So we'll go with 1/4 inch. So we're going to do the 1/8 inch. We can always take more off if it doesn't look right. So go with the 1/8 inch like we've been doing previously, because parts of the outside edge were 1/4 inch. And then what we can do is line it up and see what we think. So this one's going to be lined up in the middle of there now, like that, to take this other side off. Hopefully I can pin that down. Take that side off, and then we can have a look. So we can pop it into place. You're going to know where it goes because the points go point to point. So you've got that guide, and obviously it will move up and down in a minute, but we're just seeing if we've got enough off of it. That's the wrong way. That one goes over that side, so we can pop it point to point, use the points as a guide, make sure that you've not come in too far, like roughly where it would be. And then this side, I've got gel nails. I've gelled my nails, so I can't pick anything up. Normally I don't. I've gone back to gelling my nails because they just won't grow. My daughter's getting married and I want to have nice nails, so wearing them. So you can see we're popping that back into place, and I think that's enough. It looks fine, doesn't it? It doesn't look hard. I don't think we need to take any more off. So we can pop those on. So again, we're going to make sure that we're gluing it so that the picture fits. So make sure that the width you're doing is going to be the right. So don't come out too close to here. You can kind of tell where it's going to be. It's fine because you've got that line. You can see that line should be continuing. So we just need to glue these into place. So I'll just do that and then come back and show you how to put the topper on. Oh, sorry, back to the camera. So the one thing I forgot to say is when you've put one on, you can put the upside down, you can put the die back over it to make sure that you get the other one, and bear in mind this comes in a little bit smaller, back over it to make sure that you're all lined up and everything. So you can do that. So there we go, we've got that on. And now for our cupcake, and I can't find the little butterfly. I just had a quick look while I was offline, but can't find it. So then we just pop our cupcake over the top. And you can see with this one as well, I didn't fussy cut all of these little bits out because you could, you know, not do the leaves if you want, but they do bridge. I think when things bridge, it's important to do it. And like I say, you can replace that butterfly because a little bit's missing, but it's not too bad anyway. So there you go. Now, just one other thing, if writing has been chopped, then just cut it out like this. I did do it just in case, but it was fine. And then you can pop the writing back over as a bridge as well. So if there's any writing on your toppers, don't think you can't use them, just cut them out and bridge them back on. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you, bye.